scrappy friends, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be working on a Get It Scrapped layout. This is for the month of April. I'm a little behind on my process videos, guys. You need to get bugging me if you don't notice a layout on my channel in like a week. Oh, I've been trying so hard. I have some stuff cooking up in my movie editor, and definitely make sure you follow me on Instagram if you love my style and you love me, because I usually share a lot of my work there. And if I post on other places, because some of my other design teams, I have to post other places on their channels, though I'm starting to get less and less of those because I've kind of cut back on my teams a little bit. So I'm mostly over at Click-Kits or here, and Shimmers I post here now, and so I'm still on Larkin Designs, so check that. I usually do a lot of blog stuff there, so definitely check that out. So that's my little spiel. So now you see me working on poking holes. This is what I do. This is how I do stitching, the hand stitching thing. So for the month of April, my prompt was to forget it scrapped, which each month we have a prompt, and it was stitching. And so I wanted to do some stitching and some different elements. So right now I'm working on the hand stitching, and I cut this file because I thought it would look really awesome to hand stitch. Now, I thought about hand stitching around the whole thing, but here's the problem with doing the stitching the way I'm doing it. So there's a couple of different ways that you can hand stitch and get the holes. You could put it through silhouette, especially because I have a cut file. I could have traced it again and then did like dots basically, and so it would put in little tiny holes around my whole thing, and I could have did that, and maybe that would have helped. I find that when you have certain files like this and they're really close together, it's really easy to rip your paper, and that bugs me to pieces, which is silly and funny because you know, I mess up in a lot of other places and it doesn't bother me, but it's one of the things that makes it really tough because you spend all this time working on it. So you're going to see me do bits and pieces on screen, but I don't show the whole thing because let me tell you, it takes forever to do these, but it's so worth it at the end, right? Because, and I keep saying to myself, what the heck, Hannah, why are you doing this? Because I absolutely, seriously, guys, I absolutely hate hand stitching. It is one of my least favorite things to do. And I tried out the hand stitching a very long time ago, a few years ago, before it was even popular. And I remember doing it and going, this is crazy. And I didn't do it again. But the thing is you get these awesome results and you get these awesome looks when you do it. So it really is worth the time. So what I suggest is that you just you do your holes, you sit in front of a TV show that you absolutely love, and you just chill and do it because it's going to take a few hours. So that was one of the questions that we got asked, is how long does it take and to do a layout like this? And seriously, it all depends on how much stitching. So I ended up not stitching around the whole cut file because I just knew that was going to take like 10 hours or something, maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I could have gotten to a group, but it really did take a few hours to get what I did get done. So, and I'm using more than one color, so, but I did do around most of it. So in a minute, you're going to start seeing, I'm working on the photos, I'm getting my photos ready. And so here's where I did. So I did up at the top and I did around the flourishes, basically. I thought that that would be good. And then I also am going to use my regular sewing machine. And I did that around the border, and I picked this really cool pattern paper from the new crepe paper here in their collection. I love this pattern. It's so fun, and I love the colors. And so, yeah. And around the outside, one thing that I absolutely love when I doodle is to do the zigzag on part of it. So I made sure I did that on when I stitched. It's really easy. You just have to stop and just switch your dial. if you have a really simple machine, you should be able to do it. So also one thing I'm doing is making sure that I put some glue around the edges that are really small, because otherwise they get lifted up really easily, and especially when you're hand stitching, and if the paper around those edges are usually really fragile because of the stitching. So you definitely want to make sure you add enough glue to adhere it so it doesn't fall apart or rip on you. So now I'm going to put a couple of areas where I know I want to put some clusters or something, and washi tape is a good place to do this. Now, because I'm doing so much, and I say this all the time, I feel like I say it all the time, because I did so much on here with the stitching, I really do want to think about the fact that I don't want it to be crazy. And I know I have these 2 photos and they're still quite big. I should have really printed them off a lot smaller, but it's okay. It's okay. So these pictures are from the hyacinths that are outside of our yard. They're dead now, but they're the first flowers that pop up in the springtime, and they're gorgeous. And this year we had so many compared to last year. And you know what? They're one of my favorite flowers. I absolutely love them. They remind me of Hawaii. And they just have this great floral scent, but they're so beautiful, and they're this great pop of color when spring is just starting. So which is why my cut file says the sweet smell of spring, right? So and if you notice, I picked the pictures of the hyacinths that I have that match the colors that I used on the layout, and I absolutely love that. So it was really fun to have those colors of flowers that I could use. So one of the things that I do like to do is, if I know I have certain colors, to kind of start playing around with those colors and matching them and having different variations of those colors, and it really does help everything tie together. It helps the stitching and the colors that you use in your embroidery thread and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so I'm gonna I also took this black and white, I think I end up using that. I use one of the those files from the Here and There collection. I really love those. Those are so much fun. If you can get those, it's like a pack of cards and files and stuff that, oh my gosh, I've been in love with using these. They're so much fun. They add this place that you can add more journaling, or you can tuck things into your layout that you want to keep, memorabilia and stuff. Oh my gosh. It's like, seriously, they're like my favorite thing. I cannot stress enough how cool these are. And that black just kind of ties in another color and kind of gives you a little bit more grounding. And I'm just going to layer some stuff around there because I like to layer. And even though I got a lot of stuff going on, I still want to have, I still want some extra pieces. I don't want it to just be the cut file, because I didn't do any mixed media on here, which is really weird, right? I know, me and not doing some mixed media stuff. I don't know what it is. I know. I think sometimes I just don't pull it out because I want to just make a layout and I want to get something done a lot quicker, because the actual putting together of the rest of the layout is super quick. Like, it may have taken me 3 hours or so to do the stitching, but the layout part took like 20 minutes. Or maybe 30, like, seriously, that part did not take very long. So I think what I ended up doing is oh yeah, I forgot. I put the photo. So this is what happens when I make something a couple of months and then I don't share it. I put the photo inside there. And so then I'm going to pop it up a little bit so you can see a little bit of the colors, because that blue color is all over this layout. Yeah, so I'm using some other stuff from the Twilight collection, from One Canoe 2, from Crepe Paper, and not Crepe Paper, American Crafts. Oh my gosh, I'm getting my manufacturers all screwed up. I feel bad because I did not mean to do that, but there's a lot of these awesome orangey colors and some blue colors in the Twilight collection. They're super fun, and there's these wood buttons are awesome. So it definitely was those were a really good pairing. So this is one of those really fun places where you can mix collections and make them feel like they are supposed to go together. Because I mean, as much as they look awesome when you when you keep a collection all together, it looks really awesome when you can pull two different collections and make them feel like they're one and make it just like all work. It's supposed to be together, right? So one of the last things that I'm doing is adding some faux stitching with my pen. Before I did a lot of hand stitching, or before I did a lot of sewing machine, because I didn't have a sewing machine, I did faux stitching all the time. And you know what? It looks just as awesome. And you don't get the bulk of doing, or the, having your sewing machine eat your paper, or, your needle on your sewing machine break because it went through a thicker that wasn't gonna work, so definitely, if you don't have a sewing machine, or you don't want to take the time to hand stitch, you can definitely just, use a really cool metallic pen or a gel pen or something, and you can get some really cool looks if you just take your time. And so yeah, so definitely look in the info section and you'll see the link for the blog post for this, and I'll see you guys later. Have a great scrappy week. Bye.